Is it on the ground?
It is now.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
It's all the way on.
Yes. Yes.
You got to be kidding me.
Badass.
It's so good.
All right, what's up, Wheelers? We're getting ready to play around with the Mojave today. If you guys didn't know we had a Mojave, we have a Mojave. We got rid of Rooster to do this thing. And in the spirit of the Parts Room podcast, if you guys have been listening to that, we did a video podcast on budget lifts and budget boosts, if you will. Bubba's been putting some of those on his Broncos over there. So in the spirit of that, I thought we'd do a phase one on this Mojave and throw a spacer lift on this thing, put 37's on it, and use the stock rims. Kind of walk the talk that we were talking about. So we're going to make a video today. A bunch of the Tulsa Gladiator guys are going to come over and help us out, see if we can get this done, see if we can get discount tires to cooperate on putting 37 1250s on 7.5-inch rims. We'll see what happens. We're going to do it on the garage with floor jacks and jack stands. If you haven't done that before, it's kind of fun, it's kind of interesting. So let's get rolling. We've got 40.5, and we're going from this flush level here, not from underneath, so we'll stay there. We've got the rivet right behind it to kind of keep our orientation. So on the front, we're looking at 40.5 ground to fender. And yes, I know it's a spacer lift. It's not going to make a difference. It should be 2 inches, but somebody's going to ask me, so we're going to do the measurements. Everybody else just calm down. It's going to be okay. All right, let's go to the back. Well, I said 40.5, so now I'm lying. What do we got? 40.8?
Yeah, if you about right in there.
So the front's taller than the back?
That's what it looks like.
Here, back check that. Front's taller than the back on a Mojave. Well, that's probably the case because let's tell you a little bit about this Mojave. No parking sensors. We don't have the fancy radar controlled cruise control. It's just a basic Mojave with leather and a cold weather group. So that's what I wanted. If you've ever messed with the bumpers or anything on one of these when they have the safety sensors in them, it's an absolute nightmare, and it's something that I want to deal with. We changed a bumper on a Gladiator last week, and it was probably the second worst thing that we've ever done as far as eating time. It was just tedious. So this one doesn't have the weight of the steel bumper, which is probably marginally heavier than the plastic one, honestly. But yeah, so let's get some angles underneath on driveline and control arm. Angle of the drive shaft on this thing right now, and what is it, Jacob?
4 degrees.
All right, we got 4 degrees on it before the lift, and this is not taking into account to what the garage slopes backwards. We're just going to do the net difference on it. Let's do the lower control arm on the front. That's interesting. It's about 5. 6 on the back half. Okay. Control arm. Sticking 0. Look at that. It's absolutely flat. All right, so the way we do this around here, right or wrong, we have 4 7-ton jack stands. As you can see, we just lift the whole vehicle up, put a floor jack under the back axle, put a floor jack under the front axle. Just let it sit there, and then we'll pull the tires off, start adding the lift kit while somebody runs these wheels and tires to discount tires, see what happens. Chris?
What's up, man?
All right, Chris showed up. He's the other half. It takes 3 others to equal Chris. So we are loading them up. We're gonna put them in the back of Jacob's Gladiator, take them up to discount tire. They're gonna mount and balance them for us. So we're excited they could get us in. Appreciate that. This is the first test. Can you get 4 Nitto 37's and 4 free wheels and tires in the back of one Gladiator. All you guys hauling plywood should be ashamed of yourselves right now.
Here, fellas.
21, yeah. We just got the sway bar loose, and we are getting ready to take the bottom shock mount off. Detach the shock from the mount.
Is that a 21 or 22? What do you
I think
think?
it's a 21, if I remember.
Yeah. We know that drill.
Yeah.
I think we've lost more shock bolts than any people in the history of the world. That's what we're looking for always at the end. Curious to see if we get the lift kit on before they get back with the tires.
Alright. Spring is
One.
in place.
Spring is sprung. That is tight.
It is
Now
tight.
we've done this. We've done skyjacker lifts on how many now? Gladiators.
We've done 3.
3 skyjacker spacer lifts on Rubicon Gladiators and not had this much trouble getting the springs in. So definitely something different, obviously. We know there is, but that rear axle had to come way down to get the spring in. That was kind of actually tight, a lot of work. A little sketchy, but got it in.
So we got that in.
Holes are drilled for the bump stops.
Yep. So we're going to put those.
It'd go better if we had music.
We'd also get copyrighted if we had music. So there's that.
Steve's in the sexy cheetah post spring toes right
If
now.
only we knew somebody. If only we knew somebody that wrote some songs.
You know they'll copyright me on my own
We
songs.
could see.
They'll not no shit. Songs I wrote, played. I own the copyright too. If I put them in there, I get copyrighted. How crazy is that?
We've done it all.
Yeah, we just need a half hour.
Let's see, it starts to
Yeah, we got a little bulge.
bulge if you do just a little too much. So we're gonna back it up just a hair. Okay. So we've got our block in, we've got our spring
Spacer.
spacer in.
Now we need the shock extensions, right?
We need our shock extensions. Go here.
Let's resort to instructions to make sure we put the right one on the right end.
Hooked it up and then swung it in. Oh, there, so you
Sit like that.
beautiful.
Now we're going to drill this hole out on the back. Put our nut and our provided Allen head wrench or Allen head nut screw in there.
Excellent. A little bit different than Skyjacker so far, but
A little bit,
I think,
a little bit extra work.
yeah, I think it's worth it. I think it's good stuff. Pretty happy with this kit so far.
Said 345 at the latest.
3:45 at the latest. Well, all right. That's an hour 15 minutes. We ought to be done with this whole lift kit by then. We'll see. Wheel spacers. Love us some synergy around here. So we are fanboys and we are biased, but the product's good and it hasn't let us down yet. So you'll see that on almost all track bars and steering components on the front of these things. Back of it, move to the middle, put the carrier bearing or the, what they call it, a pillar bearing space things in to bring the rear driveline angle down a little bit. And so we'll see what that turns out when we get this thing back on the ground. Working on the front now, pulling off front shocks, sway bar links are off. Then we're gonna start jimmy jacking this thing around to get those springs in and out. Drill out the holes for the bump stops, and hopefully the tires are mounted and we'll see this transformation. We're on an hour and a half in so far, so not bad. Spin it around, so
Some shine.
yeah, I think that's gonna look great.
It's nice.
Let's clean them up a touch.
Looking real good.
What do they got, 100 pounds in them? Is it on the ground?
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
It's all the way on.
Yes. Yes.
Got to be kidding me.
Badass.
It's so good. Locking sockets to go down
A
there.
little bigger than I was expecting. What do you think?
That's
That's pretty good. Seems like it got a lot taller than I was intending. 44 and a half.
44 and a half.
That one is 44. Looks like 5/8,
Yeah.
4 and a half, somewhere around there.
What'd you get? Oh, yeah.
6.
6. So that's what was it, 4, right? If I remember right.
2 degrees.
2 degrees. Yeah, that's a 10.
Yep. 10.
10 degrees. So that's a pretty good increase. Looks like 6. Is that what you're seeing?
6.
4 now. So 4-degree change there. Overall, the main thing, I like it. Looks good. Looks tall. A little taller than I was expecting, for sure. Let's back it out. So, what do we have tied up in this? We've got $2,200 in the tires. I only got 4 of them because I'm cheap. We're trying to do this on the cheap. We use the factory wheels, as you can see. Got a Taser in it, which was a little over $300 for the Taser. You keeping track of this math? Somebody's got a calculator. It was $160 to get the tires mounted, and that was no small feat because they did not want to do it on 7.5-inch rims. Then we got Synergy wheel spacers on it to kick these tires out to give it a little bit better stance. That was $220, right? And the spacer lift from AEV was just a little over $400 for the spacer lift. So where does that put us at, Jacob?
3280.
$32.80 to take the Gladiator to this. And I think it's a pretty good transformation. Jace really likes it. It was the shortest Gladiator here by far, and now it holds its own with the rest of them. I'm pretty happy about that. It's a Mojave, so I mean, it's still gonna run great down the road, run great off road.
unless I'll say, check out the Parts Room podcast that we talked about the budget boost. Get some of Bubba's insight on this thing. And we will see you guys in the next video. All right, so let's do this one more time.
Go slow for all of us.
I'm gonna go slow for all you who can't do math. Like all of us, we need Jace to do the math for us.
You're right.
Okay.
Let's start with the big number.
We're gonna start with the big number.
22.
We're gonna do the thing over again because we needed a basketball in the background.